I hope this doesn't suck, because Izzy already made her video, and here I am taking over 2 months to film this video. FML. Hello, it is Charles from Books on Stereo, and I'm doing a bit of an interesting video for you guys today. I am going to be doing a vlog, or this will be the intro of this vlog, but honestly, since it took my ass so long to film this vlog, we're just gonna do mini reviews of the books since I was too lazy to film. If you're wondering what the hell is this video about, me and Isabel from the channel Happy For Now, I'll link all her information down below, decided to recommend each other some audiobooks. I gave Izzy mostly thriller recommendations. I'll link her video somewhere in the card symbol as well, and she mostly gave me a mix of romance and thriller recommendations. And we both gave each other 5 recommendations. Now for me, this is no fault onto Izzy. I already read 3 of her recommendations, so I'm going to go through and give you quick reviews of those books before we jump on to the books that I haven't read previously. Up first, we have Burn For Me by Illona Andrews, and this is a book I already read and gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was my favorite book that I read in the month of June, so if you want to check out and hear more of my thoughts about this book, I'll link that up in the card symbol up above so you can go check out that video. Next, Izzy recommended The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. And for this book in particular, I already read this before. Izzy recommended it to me, unlike for Burn For Me, which I haven't read before, and that was one of Izzy's recommendations. Then Izzy recommended The Worst Best Man by Sosa, and this is a book I already read previous to her giving this to me as a recommendation. And I read this one completely on a whim, and I absolutely adored it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it also made my top books of the month of June in the same video alongside Burn For Me. So if you want to check out that video, go to check out that video. And so that leaves 2 books. The Widow of Rose House by Diane, which is billed as a gothic historical romance. Then Syncopation by Zabo. Actually, this book is a part of a trilogy, and Izzy actually recommended the 3rd book to me, but because I cannot read series out of order, I decided to go with the 1st book instead of reading the 3rd and final book in this trilogy, even though I think you can technically read them all out of order or read them as a standalone. But if you know anything about me, you know I can't read series out of order. It bothers me to no end. Now on to the reviews. So in Syncopation, we follow Ray and Xavier, and Ray is a frontman for a rock group sensation called Twisted Wishes. And in the beginning of the book, we find that we have a conflict between Ray and the drummer of this band, and due to this conflict, the drummer ends up leaving the band. So Ray enlists the help of a former classmate / former flame to join the band as a new drummer. And that is the gist of it, but there is a little dash of BDSM in this book as well. So thoughts. The characterization overall sucks. It's a bit hard to distinguish whose POV we are in. Ray and Xavier feel very undistinguished and feel very interchangeable, and this problem is further exacerbated by the narrator of the audiobook, Greg Bordeaux. The narrator does little job to really give each of the 2 different POVs a different tone or a different cadence, so both of the POVs sound pretty much the same. And there's not a huge emphasis on plot, but there is a huge emphasis developing the chemistry between our 2 main characters. And for me, overall, this book just did not click with me. I couldn't get into the plot or to the characters' romance. And the writing is nothing special. I didn't expect it to be anything extraordinary, but it is serviceable for the story. And this is a type of book that would categorize that it is smut before plot. But for me, at least, the book didn't deliver on that promise of a steamy relationship. And so I gave this one a 1 out of 5 stars. Now, I do not count this one against Izzy, because technically she didn't read this book. She only read the 3rd book, which I forgot to mention the title of, which is called Reverb. But because of none of one of my rules, I will not be continuing on in the series, because if you don't know, if I read the 1st book in a series and if I give it a 3-star or lower rating, I will not continue on in the series. So Reverb may be amazing and may be the best book, but since my idiotic self decided to read the 1st book and not read the 3rd book as I was recommended, I kind of just brought this one on myself. And then finally, we have The Widow of Rose House. So in this book, we follow Alva, who is a widow, and she buys a mansion in New York. But there's a twist with this new mansion the twist with this brand new mansion is that it is haunted. And a premier expert on the supernatural called Sam wants to gain access to the mansion to study it. So thoughts. The tone is a bit off in this one. To me, it really doesn't read like a historical romance. The language feels a bit off for the time period that this is supposed to be set in. It almost seems like it could be taking place in our current times, which is weird because this is supposed to be set during the Gilded Age. The characters and writing were fine to me. There was nothing outstanding on either of those 2 fronts. And the gothic aspects of this book are really, really light. And it really doesn't come into play until the latter half of the novel. And for me, me, I felt this one was way too much focus on the romance instead of delving into more of those gothic elements that we were promised. And like, that was just my expectation going into this book, that I was going to get more gothic elements, but I could have overlooked this if I was able to really get into the romance, which for me I wasn't able to really vibe with. So takeaway, Izzy did an overall really good job of picking out recommendations for me, and I will be forever singing her praises for introducing me to Illona Andrews, because oh my goodness, how have I not read this author before? And then also because she recommended me The Worst Best Man, which is like one of my favorite books of this year, so she also got brownie points for that. And just in general, even though I didn't like some of these books, the audios were overall really good, except for Syncopation. So Izzy be coming through on those audio recs. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have read any of these books down in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys with a brand new video. Peace.